I'm Brandy. I work at Spencer's Gifts, the last shop standing in a dying mall. On today's episode of the Fearfic Podcast, we'll read a story where my coworker discovers the disturbing truth behind why there's an AutoZone in the middle of an outlet mall. Consumerism.
Welcome to the Fear Fiction Podcast. Fearfic is the term for short horror fiction, mostly posted on the web. It includes any and all related subgenres. Join three assholes talking basement goo Slimebeast, inebriated interstellar traveler Abysmii, and irritable ghostly man-horde Dead Palette, as they read all stories horror and internet-related, paragraph by paragraph, and bullshit while they do it. From adolescent revenge fantasies to subtle postmodern narratives about real-life events and everything in between, they read it and critique. You better believe it. Kick it to the cold open, white boy.
So do you think Oprah Winfrey really regretted killing all those people?
No.
Yeah, I get the same feeling, generally. I just can't believe that a person would do that, and in that manner.
You have to understand, Oprah Winfrey is at that level of wealth and affluence and power that turns regular people into like non-humans, essentially. Like they can't experience joy and regular human emotions, so they have to just like do crazy shit. It's like adrenaline junkies. You know, regular stuff doesn't do it enough, so they have to base jump, from a fucking tower.
You're saying Oprah is not a human?
I'm saying that she struggles to experience human-like emotions.
Interesting.
She is a human. Absolutely.
You can't be too surprised about all the murders because, she is, or was, fostering Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz to make a whole, multiple generations of people, just fill them with the wrong advice till they die.
The signs have been there. That famous Oprah meme. When she's saying, you get run over by a car, you get run over by a car, it was all prophetic.
Yep. And it's just, it's so interesting, too, that, we didn't see that the necessity for all of those cars was because you use a car, run over a person with it, and the car might not be totaled, but, it's a desecrated car now, and it's because you're a rich person. Yeah, it's gummed up. Yeah. And I got to imagine that, it's just easier instead of separating the corpse from the car, you just get a new car.
Right.
And the insane rate at which that just happens over and over and over again, and, the media just says nothing about it.
The real, I guess, the moral of the story from this, listeners, is do not buy a used car dealership, because you're just going to have to get rid of your excess stock somehow, and selling it to Oprah Winfrey is not a good look.
Right.
Yeah, then you just have blood on your hands, and
literally.
Yeah,
blood on your grill.
Literally, because if she brings them in for repair, let's not be wasteful. You're going to turn the car back in, get a little bit of resale value out of it. It was a car that Oprah Winfrey used to kill a person that has some sort of market value. You can.
Well, no, that's interesting.
You can ask for the Carfax, is what I'm trying to say.
That's an interesting prospect. So if a new car leaves a lot, it loses 40% of its value. So now it's in a used car lot. So it's already lost an additional, let's say 20% of its value. Then it goes on the Oprah show. That actually is an increase in value because it has that name brand recognition. But then it hits a person. So where exactly does the car sit? What's the Kelly Blue Book on a car that Oprah Winfrey used to kill people?
I would think that there would probably be some money to be made in purchasing all of Oprah Winfrey's used murder cars, and starting the Oprah Winfrey Museum of Vehicular Homicide or something, and just keeping all the cars in the state they were in. Faces jammed into the grill, limbs and stuff sticking out of the wheel well, different things like that. And just, making a museum that's the historical relevance of Oprah Winfrey's murder spree,
So the Oprah Winfrey Museum of Vehicular Homicide, or
Yes. The sound you make when Oprah Winfrey hits you with a car, yeah.
It's so apt.
Abysmii,
Yes.
were you hit by Oprah Winfrey?
I was hit by a white male.
Dr.
but
Phil?
No, it
Look
wasn't
out!
Dr. Phil. But he was spouting off a lot of Winfreyisms, so, could be.
You know what happened was the cops pulled him over, stopped him, got him out of the car, and his face was like a little bit loose-fitting, sort of like Edgar in Men in Black, and he was saying, Listen, I know I hit somebody. I get it, people! I mean, I know it's very bad, I understand.
Can I just say that Men in Black 1 is one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time?
You could say it. It's not true, but you could say it.
It's totally true.
It kind of is. There's a lot to the movie.
There is a lot. It's funny how like mainstream it's presented, but there's a shit ton of just body horror in it, and there's
Cosmic
a lot of
horror of
cosmic
just like
horror.
the marbles.
Yeah. Cosby horror.
It's really, really good.
I sort of had a spoiled first impression of it because I went to see it in the theater.
Uh-huh.
And this was after seeing the commercials hyping it up and everything. And after the movie was over, I was sitting there and I was like, I saw all the really interesting stuff in the commercial. So I was like, I already saw all the stuff that's mind-blowing, so my mind wasn't blown, so, oh well.
I was lucky. I was like, my parents took me to that movie. I had not seen a single trailer beforehand, so that was just all fresh to me.
Yeah, Abysmii and I were children.
We were small babies.
When did this come out? Let's see. Let me just see here. It came out in 1997. I was fucking 17. Fuck you guys. We were children. Yeah, fuck you.
I was 7.
Yeah, so what?
But it happened long before all the Oprah Winfrey vehicular homicides.
Yeah.
It did.
Oh, well.
And,
before time.
You can't go back to your childhood.
There's B.O. before Oprah.
Mm-hmm. It is weird that in the famous outro for Men in Black where Will Smith is singing, the song, Here Comes the Men in Black, Oprah Winfrey killed those people.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out for road cars.
It was happening, but then it escalated after that.
We just didn't read the signs.
We just didn't read the signs. Welcome to Fearfic, everyone. We're going to be reading about a dying mall.
Yeah.
So, a mall.
A mall, yeah, essentially.
Hello, my name is a mall.
I can't say that. The mall near where I live is fine, but it's because just where I live and fucking sucks.
My name is a mall, and I am dying.
There are different kinds of malls, though. Like,
true.
The traditional mall of like having a bunch of little shops into walls, it is dying. Even in places where they're like, maintaining businesses. They're going to be hit by recent events pretty hard.
Well, the turnover, even before recent events, is insane.
Mm-hmm.
No one can maintain, unless you're like a gigantic, very profitable corporation, you just cannot afford that fucking rent.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one time going to the mall, way back when I went into Spencer's Gifts, looked around for a little bit, walked out of a Gap. It was like, that's how quick the turnover is.
It's like, wait a second. Like, okay, so you're shopping in a Spencer's Gifts, and you're like, okay, I kind of want a dildo for my anus to masturbate my anus. And so you're like, oh, this looks like a nice size of a dildo. I'm going to go with this. And then suddenly it turns into a Gap and you're just holding a dildo. It's like, oh no, oh God.
The girl comes up and she's like, can I help you? What?
Sir, please don't bring your sex objects in here. What? No, I got this off the shelf. Uh-huh, sure, I'm sure.
No, sir, please don't bring your sex objects in here. Why? Looking at this mannequins here, I would say this is the perfect place for sex objects. You disgust me with your unrealistic body expectations. But yeah.
A woman comes up to you as just, a Gap employee. Can I help you? And then, like, another person comes up and they're a Forever 21 employee. And they're like, what are you doing over here?
The Forever 21 employees drag the Gap employee away screaming, no, my time isn't up yet.
Another person comes in, they're like, welcome to AutoZone. What are all of you doing here? Can I get you some spark plugs?
Welcome to the AutoZone in the exact middle of a mall. Would you like a car battery?
There's a roundabout of cars are just coming through it.
Oprah driving all of them.
And then
SCP-4813, recursive Oprahs.
Then you just have the Spirit Halloween person show up, and it's just like, it's all been a dream.
Yep.
It's actually October. What? Oh my god.
So this story is entitled "I Work in the Last Store at a Dying Mall" by Freaky Attractions, and this story was apparently narrated and written by Mr. Freaky, and they have a YouTube channel where they've narrated this, which we will not be listening to, but we'll be linking.
Yeah.
We will be reading the story raw. I may go back and listen to the narration.
Is Freaky Attractions a Halloween pop-up store? Is this an advertisement?
Come
Clever
on down to Freaky Attractions. Yeah. Sounds kind of like a nice... It's one of those things where it's trying to sound like it's edgy, but it's actually like a nice Christian Halloween store.
God damn it.
Welcome to Freaky Attractions, where everything is spooky and scary, but there are no skeletons or blood.
Listen,
Check
all
out
you guys did...
our crucifix featuring the Christ, but his hands are pumpkins.
Oh man, could you imagine a little Jesus on the cross, but he's got the headless horseman pumpkin head?
Oh,
That would be awesome. And it's removable for the rest of the year, so you can be respectable.
Yeah. Oh, and you could put a Santa hat on it during Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little leprechaun outfit for Easter.
And please, everyone down in the comments, let us know what your good Christian Halloween costume is going to be this year.
Yes, please.
I'm going to be going as Pontius Pilate.
I'm John the Baptist. I don't know who that is or what he did, but here I am as him.
He was the
Little
guy
5-year-old.
who... Yeah, no, he's the guy who, lighted the 7 candles.
Oh yeah, one if by air, two if by sea. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Duh.
Okay.
God.
All right,
You guys really need to study the French Revolution.
the French Bivolution.
I Work in the Last Store at a Dying Mall is a very no-sleep title, but done well,
Yeah,
by the way.
I think the reason we picked up on this was it's a very interesting concept that we haven't seen done before. Maybe it's been done, but it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing that happens, being in the last, fucking store in a mall. Yeah.
So behind the scenes, we all just kind of had this. It was posted into our chat, and we were just like, how has this story not been written before?
Oh, I just saw it on Reddit. I just saw I Work in the Last Store at a Dying Mall and went, oh shit.
Yeah,
That's actually a good usage of the trope.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
somebody had to paste it into our chat, yeah.
So I do wonder if this is going to live up to the good concept,
Hope so.
But without further ado, you don't have to be all that perceptive to notice that smalls and retail sales in general have been on a slow and steady decline for quite some time now. Sears, Dillard's, JCPenney will all soon just be remnants of a long-forgotten consumerist era.
All right, so for all our Zoomers out there, those are actual names of stores. They were not made up for this story. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
Sears is where you go to play the Dreamcast, because who actually buys one? Due to my considerable bad luck and lack of forward thinking, I found myself employed by one of these dying malls. Good first paragraph. Good first paragraph.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes wrong.
Anyway, a skeleton popped out. Oh no!
So then the Wendigo dropped down from the fucking roof. I remember the day
My
I started...
manager, the Wendigo.
So then the Forever 21 mascot costume was running around. Hello?
I remember the day I started at the place, I accidentally parked all the way on the other side of the building and had to walk to my work location, Spencer's Gifts.
Yes!
Oh, God. Which was the very last store open at that mall.
My interview with the store manager was over Zoom. Oh, so this is recent.
Yeah.
So this was my first time actually entering the place. I literally felt like I was going into a ghost town. There was this overgrown planter up ahead that sat in the middle of the hallway, with these long, wiry weeds bursting out from the center of it, and covering the sides. Bananas sat in their own stinking refuse. Now, you get it, you're fucking nerds.
We get it!
You're nerds, you get it.
You can't,
trash.
use the insult of, haha, you guys like Abandoned by Disney. We know. We've said it.
You're trash. You're just trash. Blah, blah, blah. I smirked as an old plastic bag literally rolled across the hallway like a tumbleweed from an old Western movie. Blown by what?
Air conditioning.
Yeah, there you go. A wide-eyed, disheveled-looking homeless man shuffled around a corner past me, looking very stressed. He then clipped into the back rooms. He then turned and looked back as if searching for someone, then ambled right past me again, not even making eye contact.
So the backroom story that we read started off it's exactly the same premise of, a ghost mall, but here we're actually having the scene set in like such good detail with like good similes and metaphors. I'm like loving this instantly.
This is really good atmosphere.
Do we think the homeless guy is like a child who was lost at the mall? He's going around looking for somebody forever.
Mom!
I'm looking for my mom. She was in a Gap. It's like there hasn't been a Gap here for 15 years.
Her name was Martha. Where's Martha?
Jesus Christ.
Where's Martha?
Like, oh my God, why did you say the name Martha? The manager at Forever 21's name was Martha. Fuck.
Your manager's name is Martha? So is mine.
Fuck.
I stopped at the food court before my shift to grab something.
From where?
Wondering if there would still even be any food windows in operation. Luckily, there were two places.
Then you're not working in the last store at a dying mall.
Well, cafeteria is kind of different. I also do not care for them because they're always dirty.
You don't care for Terriers?
I don't care for Terriers. A hot dog and a Chinese food window were both open. Window is a weird way to put it, but I know what they mean.
I get what they mean. Yeah.
Neither were my favorites, but I figured I could possibly fill up on some fries at least.
I went to the Chinese food window and ordered fries. Oh, sorry, again?
What you do is you get the Chinese food, and then you, wrap the hot dog in it. Delicious.
Ugh.
Is it?
No.
Or is that a really dumb thing you just said?
That would, dissolve the lining of your intestinal tract,
so,
I'm pretty sure.
For anybody who's been wondering, Abysmii has been drinking before recording.
Shut up.
What is about a Chinese hot dog bath?
Chinese dog bath?
Oh, the meme that will never die. That really needs to. As I walked over to the hot dog window, God, that is just a weird thing to say, isn't it? I noticed someone out of the corner.
Is that another name for a glory hole?
Yes.
Just say hot dog on a stick. It's like this. You know what? This is probably the no sleep effect. I can't possibly reference other real world brands. It's okay. You can. You just can't endorse them or some shit.
No. That's the name of the restaurant.
Hot dog window.
Hot dog window is the name of the restaurant.
Right next door, Chinese food window. Very unfortunate.
Now that I would believe. I noticed someone out of the corner of my eye who immediately disturbed me. Across the rows of empty tables and chairs, there was an obese woman at a large table with two different trays in front of her. She was literally going back and forth from a Chinese platter to a hot dog. See, it is a thing.
Okay, so is this obese woman Abysmii? Is this Abysmii?
Dressed as an obese woman infiltrating malls.
Once again.
Is the obese woman Oprah?
Yeah. Back and forth from a Chinese platter to a hot dog and everything down with a milkshake. That should be washing everything down or something.
Do you think Oprah stood between the two windows and looked between each of them and said, I get a hot dog and I get some Chinese food and I get a hot dog and I get some Chinese food?
She just walked up and said, I'm buying both of these windows, these window establishments.
There you go.
Imagine being so rich, which she is, that she could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Sauce was covering her face and shirt as she consumed voraciously.
Oh, so it's not Oprah, it's just some woman doing sauce face. I'd never seen anything like it, and I didn't want to stare, but it definitely made me uncomfortable. So, I grabbed the fries and headed to my store to eat them in the break room. As I walked out, I turned my back and saw her look up from her food. She stared at me blankly, but with this deranged hint of desire.
Oh my God.
I'm so hot, all the ladies want me.
Huh.
Even obese me.
Okay. So I like that this, that could be a red herring or something, but it is just, I can relate to that. You meet someone fucking weird in an uncomfortable place, a place that's new and foreign to you. I like that.
Brandon, can relate to that. I also stare with disgust at obese women.
Is our narrator Gail? Is that why Oprah was looking with desire?
Maybe.
Is this our new headcanon, fat-shaming Brandon?
Family values Abysmii and fat
shaming Brandon.
Fat shaming Brandon. Don't put things in your mouth.
Stop eating food.
I'm from the South. Luckily, I was told before where the time clock for the store was. I walked straight to the back and found a coworker, Brandy, who was aggressively stocking items on the shelves and eventually noticed me.
Fucking shelves, fucking items.
Stuff at them shelves.
Yeah.
She's got to put things.
She's got like a stack of Funko Pops and just like tosses it at the shelf.
Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is obese.
So would there be Funko Pops at a Spencer's Gifts?
No, I'm making that. Well,
did Spencer's last long enough?
Is Spencer still around?
That's what I was going to ask, actually.
I know that it's a shitty place to get dildos, I'll tell you that.
I wouldn't go there for, like, it's a fucking, it's a joke shop. I wouldn't get anything there, like, to actually use it for what it's intended as.
I think
I got this vibrator, ironically.
It's an exploding vibrator.
Isn't it a funny prank, guys?
I think, was Spencer's into, like, bootleg shit or anything like that? Like the knockoff stuff? Because I could see that. It just had that
Not
feel
really
to it.
knockoff, just stupid, like, they're trying to make it's just gag items, just jokes and shit.
We have your favorite Funko Pop figures.
Fago.
This
Fago Pop? Would it just
Pop.
be ICP, little Funko Pops? You the new guy? She asked as she grabbed one of my fries. Her studded eyebrow ring glistened as light cast across an enormous burn scar covering half her face.
Ooh.
She was probably in her early 30s, and you could tell by her curt personality
that she was named Kurt.
And also by her name tag that said Kurt.
Wait a minute, are we talking about somebody with half a face and referring to them as Kurt? Okay, anyway, go ahead. What? I'm just asking. I don't understand.
That she'd been dealing with social ramifications of the scar for most of her life.
For anybody paying attention at home who has listened to every episode of the Fear Fiction podcast, that is the second time Slimebeast has been able to slip in Kurt Cobain's suicide. Okay, anyway.
For you deep lore enthusiasts, take note.
Can we... Yeah, I have to... one of these days, I'm going to rewrite Squidward's suicide, but somehow it's going to be foreshadowing of
goddamn,
of Kurt Cobain's suicide.
Damn.
Or
married.
To recap, our protag, our narrator, has gone to a mall and has only seen somewhat monstrous people. Like there's something weird about them.
Oh, that's rude.
All physically related.
Wow.
Well, I guess for the homeless man, it's also mental.
I walked up to her with my missing leg and part of my skull cap missing. Wait a minute, I think this might be purgatory.
I like that. I do like the Shadow over Innsmouth kind of vibes. Yeah. I like writing stories like that personally, where you're just uncomfortable by things that are making you unhappy that you're uncomfortable by them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Ooh, it's wrong of me to judge people, but I'm judging people and I feel scared.
Yeah, it reminds me of that story we read about the guy who moves to the town that had that horrible travesty over the bridge that's out of order now.
Yeah,
the dude hanging. Yeah, exactly. Charles Joe. Very similar. Hear what happened to the guy whose spot you took? She bluntly said as she jammed some rolled-up posters into a cubby. No, what? I asked, thinking that I should have probably realized that there would be a reason the last store in a dying mall in 2020 was hiring. Guy was convinced this mall was some sort of secret CIA facility or something. He talked to me about it all the time. Cops eventually found him up on the rooftop with his ears chopped off, saying he was trying to make the voices go away. Dude's been in the facility ever since, she said. So the mall does things to people, I'm guessing.
Clearly shook, but I guess you hear the horrible truth and you can't help but compulsively eat, maybe? Also?
Don't know.
Clearly shook by the disturbing story, I sat in silence for a moment. Then I awkwardly thanked her for the info and went over to the time clock to clock in. The rest of the people who came through that day seemed like souls in purgatory. No, seemed like different variations of brandy. Just tall brandy, short brandy.
The drink.
Yeah, so like you got your... Okay, anybody know any brands of brandy?
Christian Brothers.
Brandy brands?
Brandy. Brampton brand brandy.
Brampton
Why the
brand brandy brandy.
Okay, if she hasn't already done it, why has Brandy not made a brandy brand brandy?
I don't know.
Like
Brandon and Brandy brand Brampton brandy.
God damn it.
proudly storing only brand brandy Brampton brand brandy in the brand.
Bramble. My daddy was a brandy man, and I branded the brands of Brandon.
Aged to perfection in oak barrel. Damn it, lost it again.
Everyone in Brampton just continually has strokes.
Yeah. Seemed like different variations of Brandy, looking for piercings and raunchy greeting cards to give as presents. Either way, it was a pretty standard day for that kind of place. I'm surprised the last store in a dying mall has that many customers.
Yeah.
Except for one really weird thing. The manager I had met with over Zoom never showed up. Bum bum bum. So I basically just took direction from Brandy the whole time. At closing, she showed me how to shut down the register. Then we cut the lights before bringing down the gate over the front of the shop. Okay, so you closed the shop.
I imagine the only people going through a dead mall are just all the YouTubers for their Dead Mall series.
It's just Jake Paul running through looting.
Look, I found a dead homeless man.
Ooh.
Let's tase him.
Epic tasing mall hobo Frank gone wrong. Consexual. The hallway of the mall was so dark and silent you could probably hear a pin drop from all the way across the at the other side. I painfully remembered at the moment I was going to have to cross the entire place to get to my car. Man, that's the coolest thing about like shitty abandoned malls is just like you see a giant vacant parking lot. It's just like a concrete desert, not a concrete jungle, because that's cool. A concrete desert. Where you parked? Brandy asked as she locked the metal gate. I pointed to the left down into the abyss of empty stores. Ooh, man, I feel for you, Brandy said as she turned to the right and gave me the hang loose gesture with her hands, like the Hawaii gesture.
She's a goth surfer.
I kind of like that. That's cool.
She only surfs at night. They call her Moonbeam, yeah.
I think that we, from the little bit that we know of Brandy, can kind of like picture her and get an idea of her personality, so that's pretty cool.
For sure.
I'm just picturing a goth surfer going under the waves, lifeguards swimming out and resuscitating them, and the goth surfer just being like, whatever.
I wanted to drown, whatever.
Fine, thanks, I guess. Fuck.
Those would be the only goths that are tan. I guess I sort of expected her to offer me a ride to my car, but knowing my luck, I'm not sure why I would have thought that. That's good.
So wait, a ride through the mall?
Where you parked.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
She did say where you parked. Like, why would you ask that if you weren't, why would you need that information if it wasn't important to you? Why would you ask that if you weren't going to offer a ride?
Small talk, because these two people really don't have anything in common.
But you've already closed. You don't have to make more small talk. It's okay. See you tomorrow.
Well, it is another human being with which, I don't know, I do small talk and shit like that.
Yeah, but Brandy is a goth, though.
So when you leave work, the people that your coworkers stop being humans. Oprah isn't a human. A lot of people aren't humans to you, Abysmii.
No, it's I don't
prostitutes,
know.
Homeless people, half people, all not human to Abysmii.
People with scars.
Mm-hmm. People with cars.
People with scars from cars.
People named Skarsgård.
Well, I'm sure that
I do like the Skarsgårds.
I'm sure Abysmii has a few car scars.
I have several.
God damn it.
Anyways, I started down the empty hallway of abandoned stores by Disney. I casually looked through the windows of the different places.
The abandoned Disney store?
Jesus Christ.
They moved out and just opened up their own mall. I casually looked through the windows of the different places in various states of disrepair. It really was surprising the way many of them were left. Some were totally stripped, but then others seemed like the owners just walked out, leaving all kinds of garbage and merchandise behind. One of them I came across was this custom doll shop with countless little eyes staring out at me from the darkness. I moved past that one very quickly. That's A lot of really cool imagery in this story.
Then I realized that the dolls all looked like real people. Their eyes followed me, and then they got up and ran after me, and okay.
All the dolls were seeping out white goop.
Damn it, no. Then I came to one that looked like it had been some kind of indoor playground in the 90s. That's a long time. If you're doing Zoom interviews now, then that's been abandoned for a long fucking time if it was a playground in the 90s.
See, that is weird because the malls near me do have indoor playgrounds, but they are definitely not made in the 90s. They're made recently. So
I know exactly what they're talking about because there's a dead mall, I think I've talked about it, that had like a weird anime arcade in it, and that mall is just fucking weird, and there is like a 90s playground there that is abandoned and not used.
I gazed through the window and saw one of those little fiberglass castles that you'd see at playgrounds. A tiny Wendigo shibbied out of the door. A tiny shadow suddenly scurried out from behind it, to another area of the store. It happened so abruptly that I wasn't even sure what I had seen. The gate wasn't even locked, and was sitting partially open, so I lifted it and stepped inside. Why? You're gonna go in there where there's a little doll, a haunted doll playing in the playground? Really? Why? Go to your car.
Hello, I called into the darkness, hearing nothing back. Absolute darkness, even.
Mm-hmm.
All that I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute silence. That was when I thought I heard a child's scared breath. Hello? Minnie, don't put your gloved mouse finger in my butt.
Sora, stop scared breathing in the tiny castle.
Goofy the Heartless are everywhere in this 90s playground.
Welcome to the universe of abandoned mall.
Ooh.
There is a Quiznos.
The last Quiznos in the United States.
Look, Becky, a hot dog window.
Right next to the Chinese food window. I like to put both of them together and call it the Goofy Dog.
God damn it,
Goofy,
no.
Donald, do you reckon I should put my keyblade into that hot dog window? All right, then. Hello, I called, but there was still no response. I got too freaked out to keep searching at that point, so I hightailed it under the gate and down the hall. Then the homeless man from earlier came out from around this without an eye corner and almost crashed into me.
Crash into me, homeless.
Crash. Ah.
God damn it, no.
Hey, what the hell? I yelled at him, but like before, he just kept walking. The mall had been closed for at least a half hour, but he shouldn't have been in there, and Jesus. The mall had been closed.
Guys, everyone here is ghosts, right?
Maybe.
Okay.
No, I don't think they're ghosts. I don't think so. The mall had been closed for at least a half hour, so he shouldn't have been in there, but I didn't know the number for security yet, and I wasn't going to chase him down. I figured I would just tell the manager about it the next day and see what they said.
So did he eat ghost fries?
Yes.
Maybe.
Made of ghost potatoes?
So if he eats ghost fries, those are just completely empty calories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think it's like Persephone with the fucking olive pit or whatever she fucking swallowed.
Pomegranate.
Yeah, she took a palm full of granite and swallowed it, and then she had to stay in hell because she was constipated, I guess.
Well, because when you eat the granite, that's dirt, and then that makes you of the earth, and where is hell? So it's in the center of Earth.
Oh, yeah.
In malls.
Right. Finally, I got to the door to the parking lot and discovered that it was now pouring out. My dog hadn't been fed or walked in like 8 hours. I looked at it out in the car and shrugged. My dog hadn't been fed or walked in like 8 hours, so I didn't have time to wait. I braved the rain and eventually got to my car. The weird thing is I didn't get wet because I'm a ghost and everyone there is ghosts. Now, when I reached down to unlock the door, I saw the shadow of the huge woman from the food court before, standing out in the rain.
You saw the shadow?
This is Oprah. There were no cars... Oh, sorry?
It's a very big shadow.
But if it's raining, is the sun out?
No.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's closing at night.
It is possible, it's just not common.
Closing at night. There were no cars around her, and she stood slightly off balance, looking completely out of it.
She was eating a muffler.
She had no cars around her, and she didn't know how to tell people they were getting cars, because there were none.
I have no cars, and I must scream.
Well, I just realized there's the parking lot lights, and if she's standing under one, that'll cast a shadow.
Yes, true.
I got into my car and started trying to ignore her, but when I looked up, I saw her running at an incredible speed towards me, considering how fat she was. I accelerated, hydroplaning and spinning in one place. She jumped onto the back of the car and pounded her fist into the windshield, breaking the window. Turning the wheel back and forth, I tried desperately to shake her off, but she wouldn't budge. In a last-ditch effort, I threw a tire iron from under my seat back at her face that finally knocked her off, sending her into the bushes off the side of the road. Whoa.
Wow, this just went from 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds.
Literally.
Did she
wow.
Wait, so did she break through the glass? Yeah, breaking the windshield. Breaking the windshield. Okay, yeah, so... Jeez.
Okay, that is... microwave horror, if I've seen it since the 1999 Redux.
For anybody out there wondering, microwave horror is horror that is the opposite of fridge horror, because there's nothing left to the imagination and everything just kind of happens in front of you immediately. Anyway.
Which is very weird, because this story was relatively well paced beforehand. The mall is abandoned, except for this one store. There's some weird people around me. I saw something eerie. I was delayed getting out. I bumped into the homeless guy, but, nothing happened. Also, there was a fat woman who's basically a fucking, mutant who's breaking my windshield. Look out.
I'm fine with this if it's part of an arc and we get that this is maybe a red herring to real horror and this is just a crazy person and then there's something else.
It was slightly foreshadowed of the obese woman looked up to me and was had desire in her eyes, and obviously that probably should be interpreted as desiring human flesh or some shit. But it's just way too fast.
The thing is, you guys are forgetting, this really actually did cover this beforehand, because when he went to the hot dog window and the Chinese food window, he did say that both of the windows were broken out and the cooks inside were throwing tire irons at the woman, so...
Oh, right.
Just endless supplies of tire irons, like ninja stars, like Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I called the police immediately and told them what had happened, to which they said they would go check it out. No. No, I don't believe that. After arriving home, I was contacted by an officer who told me that they were not able to find the women, but they were going to send someone to access the damage of my car. Jesus Christ, that sentence. You need to fix all of that sentence.
Yeah. Maybe when he hit her with the tire iron, maybe she split into two separate smaller women. Mitosis. Shortly after here we go. Shortly after I heard the front door of my apartment open. I slowly walked out into the living room with a baseball bat. She was there, her mouth gaping wide open, her clothes torn.
No. Reread that properly.
She was there, her mouth gaping, I don't get it, wide open! Yeah. Her clothes torn and her hands were clenched, ready to attack. Before she could a bag came down over her head from behind, and a man injected her with some kind of paralyzing agent. Yes, the store is a front for a fucking government experiment.
So the CIA thing was actual. Okay.
Oh my god, the SCP. Okay. She fell to the floor, and he stepped over her, another man coming in behind them. At first, I thought they were somehow with the police, until I looked over at my pit bull, Doug, and saw that he was bizarrely just frozen there. Okay. So is this Men in Black? They were both pale and bald, and had those piercing white eyes, and gazed at me until my hand suddenly opened, dropping the bat. My hand suddenly opened.
Here comes the Men in Black, paralyzed fat women.
Remember, if a police officer is coming at you with a gun, put your hands up, wide open.
God damn it! I now cannot shake the image of Will Smith in the Men in Black outfit with sunglasses saying, they're going, "Here come the Men in Black to paralyze fat women." And he's going, "Yeah." Get paralyzed. Yeah.
Just have this image of Tommy Lee Jones putting a bag over a fat woman's head. Saying some quip.
Oh, God.
Got it in the bag. Whatever. Fuck it. I do like that it's the CIA experiment. I think that there was a lot of buildup, and then it just kind of got tired of writing the story and truncated it.
It almost feels like there's two different people writing this. First half by one, second half by another.
First half by a obese lady, second half by a homeless guy.
One of the men approached and handed me a paper with a typeset of instructions on it.
Oh, no.
They said, 1, you will continue your job at the Rare View Mall until specified otherwise. 2, you will not inform authorities about this interaction or anything related to what you found at Rare View Mall. Failure to follow this guideline. This guideline? There were 2 guidelines. There
Just
were
that one,
guidelines.
The first one you can break. The second one you have to follow.
Okay. Will risk serious repercussions. Below that number, there will be a list of your family members and their addresses.
Sort of what it says, but yeah.
This ends as a rule story. God damn it.
I wish... Okay, I like the idea of some sort of Fleming storage mall where each storefront, has some kind of
dead body in it.
No, yeah, dead body. Oh God. But I like the idea of an SCP Foundation Fleming storage unit blah 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 thing where it's a mall that's a front for something and each store has some kind of crazy shit going on. But that's been overdone so much now with all the different societies and foundations and everything. Plus, this doesn't really touch on that. Maybe there's more stories, but...
A lot like the backroom story we read, the mall, the backrooms, and in this story, the mall, that is what you should be focusing on. There should be creepy stuff happening in the mall. Go into details about the mall. This was... I showed up at the mall, and there was some weird stuff, but the important thing is that an obese fat woman attacked my car, and then I went home, and there she was, and then the CIA got, it just derails so far away from what the interesting part of the story is.
See, the thing is, I am not sure how much credit to give the story.
Yeah.
Because you've got... It really is basically a SCP Foundation of stores in a mall. If you look at the fact that, the food court is home to the obese woman who, has an unhinged jaw and eats people. The doll shop has a bunch of spooky dolls in it. You can write your own, headcanon about why that's, paranormal. Yeah. The playground area has a shadow child still playing in it. The store he works at, I'm not exactly sure, but it's he says that throughout the day, everyone who came there was another version of Brandy. Maybe that's a literal thing of there's this anomalous girl who, a bunch of people come in who are all just alternate versions of her. There's male Brandy, tall Brandy, short Brandy. I'm not sure, I'm not saying it's exactly that, like a clone or copy, but, maybe there's something anomalous there where I don't know how much credit to give the story and how much to read into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This store in an abandoned mall has a constant flow of goth kids.
They're the only ones hanging in malls anymore.
Yeah, but it's is that anomalous? Is that not anomalous? I don't know. The girl with the half-burned face you would think is, something somebody would write in an SCP.
There's a great potential here for a really cool, weird fiction, but again, it kind of just shifts away from that at its earliest opportunity.
I feel that the revelations that we're being given now are disappointing to all of us, but I think that it's interesting that the build-up was as good as it was, and I think you could this ending really doesn't attach to it in any way. It feels like the build-up is from experience, from real-world knowledge, really using what the author has in their repertoire of like memories to construct this thing, and then it's just not meshed well with the little bit of insanity that you inject into it, because it seems like this person has the like ashcan mindset of, I'm gonna take a little bit of insanity and inject it into real experiences, but I don't think that those two things have been merged well here.
I think it needed a little more in the beginning, more than the thing of just dropping in and saying, there was a guy who worked here who thought this was a CIA cover. It needed a little bit more supernaturally stuff in the beginning, toward the beginning and toward the middle. Just things like, I didn't realize until halfway through the day that the music on the PA system was playing backwards. I had just gone, it was like white noise, and I didn't pay attention to it, and then I realized, I thought I recognized the song, but it was like, wait a minute, what is that? Some kind of things where you're like, oh, this mall itself is weird, not just there's a homeless guy in it, and you're like, well, that's just anywhere,
Well, I think that you're talking about the workday. We didn't get a whole lot of what happened throughout the workday,
right?
And that's kind of interesting because that's probably about an 8-hour period of time, and in that time, I think that it's kind of skipped over, maybe out of that no sleep fear of like, hey, if I talk about anything other than the spooky skeleton, people are going to get bored.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a symptom of that, where we're just not there. They don't feel the ability to express themselves fully out of fear that readers won't get it.
Welcome to Stay Awake, where you can breathe. Take a breath. Take your time.
You can take a breath.
Yeah. It's okay, everybody. You're going to be okay.
It's fine. You know what happens if you have too much fluff in your story? You edit it down a little bit. It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Then lastly, it said, 3, you will write down all supernatural occurrences, that take place during your shifts at the mall. If your entries are sufficient to us, you will eventually be allowed to leave, as well as be compensated for your time.
Well, fuck. How about I just don't go back?
And it just sets up the series. Oh, man. I know this is some people's thing, but I really do not enjoy a story that exists just to get to the rules portion, so I can follow these trends and tropes. God damn it, dude!
This is the MCU, the Mall Cinematic Universe. As soon as I was done reading, the man grabbed the paper back from me, and they both immediately walked out the door, dragging the woman's body with them. My dog then reawoke, barking and confused. It was
barking
Rude Dog.
And angry.
Oh, yeah.
It was Rude Dog, yeah. That was about a week ago to the day, and the things I have discovered since then are even more bizarre than the stuff I saw the first day. I still have not been contacted by those men again, and I don't know how much longer I can keep going with this. I fear for my life on a daily basis. Although I am scared, one thing is for sure. The more time I spend at this mall, the more intrigued I become with its true nature and why I am needed here. I thought you just said that you're not, you want out.
Oh, well.
I created this document as a way for others to keep track of me, so if I disappear, at least someone will know why. I don't know your name.
I don't know who you are.
This is Malden J. Malson.
We do know that wherever they are, there is a hot dog window nearby.
My name is Jake Mull.
My name is Spencer Von Gifts.
So how'd you get a job here? Listen, I know someone.
So you notice our only named character is the waifu, right?
Oh, you're right.
She was a goth who was damaged and had a glinting eyebrow ring, and she was like, she asked me where my car was. She talked to me, and I like the concept. I like the entire concept. I just think that the handling, maybe it could be a little more about the mall, and like maybe the people who show up that are like the Men in Black, maybe they could be dressed as mall cops. Something more mall,
The premise is fine, but the fact that this is just a setup for a rules story influenced series, God.
I don't know that it's about rules. I think it's more of a setup for a SCP style thing, which maybe. I think that it is a cool setup of like, here we got all these little, outlets. What would you call those? Just rental spaces in the mall, and they could all have like their own little story and stuff. That's fine, but I don't like the monster, because it's just not given a whole lot of explanation. There's not a lot to it. It's a fat woman who's really good at punching things, apparently.
But something's got to happen really scary at the end, and look out for section 2.
I feel like, as we said, it mostly is in the handling of things. I think that it's competent and, so on and so forth. It's just like, imagine if he went to bed and he woke up, like touching his face because of a tickle or something, and there was something wet in his hand. He wakes up a little bit more fully, starts looking in the moonlight and sees condiments on his skin. He looks up and sees the woman over his bed, covering him with condiments. And it's like, what the fuck? Just something weird and outlandish and, gross and strange and stupid. But,
you recall
the thing of, she was there and she had a large mouth to swallow me. It's like, oh, okay.
I mean, recall the story that we read not too long ago where a guy and his either like girlfriend or wife just go to some shitty motel during spring break.
Yeah.
And he gets high as fuck. And he walks out and he just hears weird shit. And then a dude commits suicide by jumping off the roof. Like, that story had such good pacing and atmosphere. And it was just at a motel by a beach.
Yeah.
And you have this story that has a really good premise, really good setting with a shit ton of potential. And it's just, at the end, you're just like, oh, okay, I guess.
Stay tuned for more.
Yeah, it's just, like, I wish that authors would put more into making their first installment really worth it, because I have no interest in reading other installments in this series at all. Like, this is just, okay. That's just me, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I think, if this was before the inundation of SCP copycats and things, I think I'd be more into it. Like, gee, I wonder what you'd do with them all. But after seeing so many copycats and so many, uninspired things from SCP-type things, I feel like I would just be like, okay, here's the mall where there's faceless, customers, and here's the, like, just would be the same stuff you'd see in an SCP, but in a mall,
Yeah.
Here's a mall that never ends, and you can't walk to the back of it, and it just is forever,
Ooh, no end mall, and you go on a shopping spree, and it never ends.
No End Mall has to be the logical conclusion or sequel to No End House. That'd be perfect.
If you want to hear about a no end mall that you can never leave, please read Attention Good Shop Customers by Slimebeast.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. That is a thing.
This has been the Fear Fiction Podcast. Your hosts are Abysmii, Dead Palette, and Slimebeast. Music by Abysmii. Art by C.F. Comer. Voiceover by Atticus Jackson. Edited by Elias the Intern. Subscribe to Fearfic on YouTube to stay up to date on new episodes.
I'm Brandy, and this is my inner monologue being posted to r/nosleep. So, I'm an experiment in creating the ultimate manic pixie dream girl. A girl that's been so brainwashed into not being like other girls that I don't work at Hot Topic because it's too mainstream. I work at Spencer's Gifts, ironically, but I still get my many and varied piercings from Hot Topic. I mean, I'm not dumb enough to use any products from Spencer's Gifts. I don't even trust our coffee maker in the break room. Anyway, I was brainwashed and employed by the CIA as a part of Operation Dirtball. Basically a way to maintain the general populace as a consumerist sheeple. Which makes me wonder if the CIA knows about Amazon. So, this hideous scar is here to hurt my confidence while not actually harming my attractiveness to suitable mates. Because it's not like I'd ever actually have a chance with my coworker and his compelling personality.
I'm coworker. I've stumbled into working at the Spencer's Gifts during the middle of a pandemic. My coworker doesn't even wear a medical mask. I think it's mostly to show off her tongue piercing, which does look hot. And by that, I mean, I think she got it from Hot Topic. Thankfully, she didn't get it from here. If you look at all the piercings we sell, there's a small disclaimer that says not for use on humans or cattle. Also, yeah, the CIA is forcing me to work here or they'll kill my family. could be worse, honestly. No one's comfortable coming into a Spencer's Gifts during normal times, and I'm fairly certain my coworker has been genetically modified to appeal to my brain as a no-sleep author. But the girl that works at the hot dog window is pretty DTF as well by the looks of it, so I'm keeping my options open. Maybe could swing a three-way thing. It's really insane how much freedom I have working under the CIA. It's not nearly as restrictive as you'd think. Alright, it's getting to be quitting time. Oh. Girl, your giant hideous scar looks so small in this Spencer's Gifts fluorescent lighting. You look almost like a conventionally attractive woman.
RPC Authority Special.
No.
Yes. Some Nerves by Epic Pulpus of Malthus. It's just type in RPC, Some Nerves. It's a cute little music video that shows off a bunch of cool RPC Authority stories.
You can't just say a bunch of random shit and call it a plug.
It's simple.
The DVC, Bumpus Rumpus, Go-A-Wumpus by Flimdy Flamdy. If you Google
Gotta
Snap...
push the Whopper button.
Yeah.
QR2FG. This is Dawn Beverage.
Dawn Beverage. If you type in RPC Authority, Some Nerves, it'll come up. It's a really cool music video.
Uh-huh. What song is in the music video?
Some Nerves.
And what's the video called?
RPC Authority Special, Some Nerves by Epic Pulpus of Malthus.
Okay.
Go check out Some Nerds on the RPC Authority.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.